And for those who haven't experienced the Canadian culture, if there's a more fun-loving, beer-drinking, happy-go-lucky bunch of people than Canadians, I ain't ever seen. Maybe the Aussies are, but the Canadians are fantastic people. So if you have pissed off the Canadians, man, you have really accomplished something. Like, that took something.
Yep. And this Canadian here was so pissed off that he even started a YouTube channel. But hey, at least he didn't say we have a goofy accent like this guy.
With a Canadian driver's license or a passport, or you use that goofily delightful Canadian accent, we'll give you a 30% discount.
It's too early in the video for F-bombs. But you guys all know my opinion on that guy. But what I really wanted to emphasize in this video is an article that was sent to me by Abby, and it shows all the metrics in terms of 2025 and how pissed off we were last year and how it's going to continue moving forward. I'm also going to show a bit more from the clip at the beginning, because the guy on the right is a potential representative in Montana, and he explains how the citizens in Montana are missing the Canadians. But let's not forget who Montana voted for, and we'll get into this more in today's video. The backdrop you're looking at right now, it comes from Jason, and he took this photo from Conception Bay South in Newfoundland and Labrador. I can't tell if this is a sunrise or sunset, but either way, it's a great photo. Thanks for sending us over, Jason. And just a quick reminder, there's 2 petitions that I'm featuring on my channel. On the left is by Heather McPherson, and the TLDR for this one is basically ICE and any contracts out of Canada. It's currently sitting at 8,947 signatures. Now the petition on the right is by Bruce Fanjoy, and this one is basically to make sure that all federal MPs get their proper security clearance. This one is currently sitting at 36,466 signatures. So if you want to take a look or read them over, the links will be in the description below as well as the pinned comment. Okay, I'm going to start with a video that I showed earlier, specifically on their discussion when it comes to Canada.
Let's just talk about Canada at the moment and how important it is to you guys locally, but also to America as a whole, because Canada is trying to find a way around working with the US where possible, not least with these threat of tariffs. There's an argument over this bridge now. Canada is now also seeking security guarantees from Europe and making new relationships there. Is that the answer, just to circumnavigate the United States completely and find new allies?
Well, here's this is a complex thing, and it's an emotional thing for me because I live 50 miles from Canada, and so many of my dear friends are Canadians. And for those who haven't experienced the Canadian culture, if there's a more fun-loving, beer-drinking, happy-go-lucky bunch of people than Canadians, I ain't ever seen. Maybe the Aussies are, but the Canadians are fantastic people. So if you have pissed off the Canadians, man, you have really accomplished something. Like, that took something. And so it's a sad thing for me to hear from my neighbors that they don't want to come down here, and from my friends that they don't want to come down here. I still hope they'll have us up there.
Well, I speak for myself here, but I will always say that I will welcome US citizens to Canada. And I've had plenty of viewers from the US email me, asking me where they should go in Canada. Now, I'm not the best tour guide. I haven't been anywhere east of Alberta, but it's nice to see the GTL community helping out in the comments, as well as on the Discord server, to suggest places to go in Canada.
For Montana, it's a particularly dangerous, onerous kind of thing that's happening. So Montana is a huge agricultural state. Lots of wheat, lots of barley, lots of cattle are grown here. And much of the important fertilizer that is used on most of our most important crops, there's one source for it, Canada. So these tariffs are killing producers here because of their input costs are going up. Of course, the tariffs are killing the markets for so many of our crops, but the input costs for so many of these farmers are being driven through the roof because they need to buy Canadian fertilizer and they can't buy it.
Now, these farmers he's talking about, I'm going to guess that some of them, maybe a good majority of them, might actually be in the top part here. The one that voted for the orange dictator. Now, any of the farmers that actually voted for Harris, yeah, I feel for you. But for the farmers that voted for the orange dictator, you brought this all on yourself. So all of this talk about high costs and not being able to get our fertilizer, the farmers who voted for the dictator brought this on themselves. Now, this next part of the interview goes more into the tourism side of Montana. And keep in mind this chart that I'm showing you right now, and also those previous reports I did on Montana.
So in the western part of the state, we rely on tourism. Tons of our economy is based on tourism and public lands. This is a bit of a funny statistic and story, but it's true. One of my really good friends lives just below our house here. His house is just below ours on the road here. And he owns a liquor store here in town, one of the liquor stores. Well, anybody who knows Canadians who they're going on a little holiday, one of the first things they do is whip into the liquor store and get some adult sparkling beverage for the weekend. Well, his business is down. Guess how much? Exactly the amount that Canadian tourism is down, 18 to 20%.
Now, I don't know which region in Montana that he's talking about when it comes to tourism, but in the past, I've done a few reports on Kalispell, Montana. If you watch my previous videos, you would have remembered that they created this app called the Canadian Pass, filled with discounts and promotions, and they were so happy to get a few hundred people registering. I'm going to guess it's not going very well for them, along with any other state trying to promote us with some stupid discount. Now, I can't remember the name of the lady in my previous reports from Kalispell, but many of you in the comments said that there were signs of clearly who she voted for. And you guys also mentioned too that Kalispell is a heavy red area. Well, with my new favorite website, I'm here to show you how red that is. I mean, it's not even purple or like in the middle. It's red. So when I hear this guy saying that the Montana tourism industry is suffering, I'm sorry, but I really don't have much sympathy. And by the way, this website is pretty cool. It's called bestneighborhood.org, and you can search anywhere in the United States to see which county or state or city and which way they actually voted for. So check it out if you got some time. I went a little bit OCD on it.
Yeah. Restaurants here in town down 18 to 20%, exactly the same amount that Canadian tourism is down. Why are we doing that? What I must have missed the memo where the Canadians attacked us, where Mark Carney said some bad, this is needless. There's no reason for it to happen. And Americans, particularly Montanans, are pissed off about this.
I'm sorry, but saying that Montanans are pissed off about this is making me laugh, because this is what your state voted for. Now, to the Democrats that are going to say, well, I didn't vote for this. Well, half of your state did, or more than half of your state did. So go knock on the door of your neighbors who voted for the Republicans and give him shit, not me.
And all the Republicans can do, including the guy I'm running against, is just look at Donald Trump and say, yes, sir. And so one of the things that I've pointed out to people here is in our government, we're supposed to have representative government. The job I'm running for is called U.S. Rep, U.S. Representative. It's supposed to represent people. Well, the people of Western Montana don't have representative. I mean, Ryan Zinke, this guy I'm running against, he's representing something, but he ain't representing farmers. He's not representing my buddy who owns a liquor store. He's not representing the people I told you about who need health care. He's not representing my 21-year-old son who needs a house. Like, if you're a big healthcare company, or you're Elon Musk or one of these people, you got a representative, but all the rest of the people don't. And that's what has people so pissed off here. It's what is degrading our political system. We've got to fix it.
I agree that you need a representative to actually speak for the people. But I don't agree that the blame should be all put on the current representative, because it's the people of Montana that actually voted to get that representative in. Now, I'm going to guess that this guy's a Democratic or running for a Democratic position, and he wants change, which I give him credit for. But the reason you are in this situation is because of the people and who they voted for. Now, I want to move on to an article that Abby sent me. We've heard what's going on in Montana, but I want to show what's going on with the rest of the country. This article titled, Canada-US Boycott 2026, The Complete Data. 4.5 billion loss, 450,000 seats cut, 62% of Canadians stay away, Toronto, Cancun dethroning Dallas as Mexico's busiest route, and Florida snowbirds selling their condos. What the hell kind of title is this? Anyways, let's get into the article. So the first thing I want to show is some of the bullet points in this article. We'll review them one by one. They state here that it was published February 16, 2026. Total U.S. economic loss by Forbes is $4.5 billion. We saw this in a previous report I did. Total U.S. tourism loss 2025, $5.7 billion. Canadians less likely to visit in 2026, 62%. Canadians uncomfortable traveling to the U.S. this winter, 70%. Q1 2026 seats cut Canada to the U.S., 450,000, and that's provided by OAG Aviation Data. WestJet capacity cut 19%. Air Canada cut 7%. Flair Airlines cut by 58%. Vehicle border crossings down 30% year over year. 10th consecutive month decline. Air Travel Canada US down 24%. Florida Canadian visits down 15%. Toronto to Cancun. Now Mexico's #1 busiest route, dethroning Dallas and Houston. Canada-Mexico flights are up 15.7%. WestJet Mexico market share 52%. Boycott start date February 2025. It says here triggered by Trump's 25% tariff and the 51st state. Air Transat, US exit, all flights canceled by June 13th of this year. You know, sometimes you got to sit back and think, oh, so much has happened within 1 year. Now, a couple things I want to mention because this article then goes on to talk about the airlines. First is WestJet, 90% US capacity cut. But what they say here, WestJet is not suffering from the boycott. It's profiting from it. Every seat removed from a Houston or Las Vegas route is being redeployed and basically to anywhere in Mexico. Next is Air Canada. They say a 7% cut. It sounds small, but I guess their network is bigger, so you have to take it in context. But what they mention here, Air Canada, Air Transat, and Flair have ramped up capacity to Mexico, collectively operating over 22,000 flights between Canada and Mexico, a 15.7% year-over-year increase. I suck at math, but I know that's a lot of seats not going to the United States and now going to Mexico. Next, we have Flair Airlines with a 58% cut to the United States destinations. And what it says here that I wanted to point out is that they've redirected their flights domestically. It says here, Flair has redirected its capacity towards domestic Canadian routes, including a 64% increase in Toronto frequency. You know, I do hope that these changes bring the domestic flight prices down. It's really stupid in my opinion that a flight to Las Vegas is cheaper than going from Vancouver to Toronto. So hopefully this changes in the future. Now I'm going to skim through this next part because this is a very long article. But like always, if you want to read it yourself, the link will be in the description below. But the first part here, they talk about the US destinations. Orlando, 79,000 seats gone. Las Vegas, 82,000 seats gone. And you have to think about how much each seat would be spending in the United States. If I was going to Las Vegas, easily 3,000 to 5,000, maybe more, depending on what I'm doing there. Times that by all the seats missing. It's a lot of money that's missing in the United States right now. Article then talks about the snowbird crisis. I think everybody that watches my channel knows that there's a significant amount of snowbirds that are not going. I rely more on the flight data and the border crossing data versus the Snowbird Association or advisors that are saying that their members are still going down, which in my last report is starting to be debunked. Now this last screenshot I want to show you. It asks, will the boycott end? The honest assessment. Now they have 4 main factors here and I'm going to go through each one of them. Factor number 1, the tariff dispute remains unresolved. Now this is just my own opinion, but even if the Orange McNugget went back on all of his tariffs and everything went back to 0, or the way it was before, I would still not go to the United States. So factor number 1 doesn't matter to me. Factor number 2, border security anxiety is growing, not shrinking. This one I agree with. Because obviously we don't want problems at the border. And especially me being a content creator, there's a reason why I'm staying anonymous. So this is a big factor for me. Factor number 3, alternative destinations have proven themselves. I think for Canadians who are really putting their foot down on the boycott, are past that stage now and realize that there are a lot of destinations out there that we haven't tapped into that are now available to us. Well, they've always been available to us, but we've always traveled to the US mainly because it's close. But now that Canadians who used to regularly fly to the US have now experienced Mexico or Costa Rica or even Europe are now broadening their experience when it comes to travel. And if they're like me, they're going to realize that, hey, there's a lot more to the world versus just California, Nevada, and Hawaii. I mean, that's where I used to travel. And the last factor, the currency gap persists. Yeah, this is not a factor for me. I mean, you guys know how I feel when it comes to the currency exchange excuse. And I'm pretty sure the Canadian dollar is actually worth a little bit more than it was last year and even the year before. So I encourage anybody watching this right now to actually go check out that article because it is a very long one, but it's got a lot of details in it. But then again, my reading sucks, so I didn't want to read the whole thing. But I just wanted to reassure everyone that our efforts are still making a big impact. So I would just ignore any of the hate comments that people are seeing or any of the comments saying that there's still plenty of Canadians going to the United States. I prefer to look at the flight data and even the border crossings. But most importantly, listening to people from the United States in positions that might be an executive or an official or even a government role, continuously saying that they miss the Canadians and basically miss our money. Okay, everyone, that's all I got for today's video. And I hope this reassures everyone that we're still going strong. And for those of you who have watched to the end of the video to help my channel, here's a picture of the co-host earlier today. Obviously not now because she was very loud in this video. She may look cute and all and, fluffy and stuff, but we call her the monster for a reason. If you found any value in anything I said today, or you want to hear more from a Canadian perspective, Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button below so you're notified of my future videos. Thanks again, everyone. I'll see you in the next one.